Breaking news from Cam Newton's video blog. Turns out that foot injury from the preseason was worse than he let on, and he knew it. He says he couldn't run the week before the first regular season game, but he didn't tell the team. He just processing this as it just came in. We thought we had some sound to share with you. As soon as we get that cut, we will bring it to you. He said that he knew at the end of the Tampa Bay game that he couldn't do this quarterback sneak, that he didn't feel comfortable with that, and then finally fessed up to the team that this was a bigger problem than perhaps they knew once the game was over. What do you make of this? Having clearly
it
not
happens
heard
all
very
the time.
much.
I mean, like, I think people don't give football players enough credit. You play through a lot of injuries, you play through a lot of things, and so you feel as if you are Superman. You feel like as if you can play through certain things and that your 75% or your 80% is good enough. I remember having a injury, and there's been reports about a Liz Frank injury, and I want to put this out there. That's what ended my career.
You're talking about with Cam?
With Cam. That's what they were, yeah. So I had
Liz Frank injury ended your career.
It ended my career. So I remember playing in Oakland and planning and getting landed on, and I felt like I sprained my ankle, which you play through sprained ankles all the time. And then the next play I go out and try to cut, and I couldn't move. And so at that point I was like, oh yeah, this is serious. So I get to the sideline, I try to tape it up. They did some different things, and then I jogged back out there, and I just couldn't do it. And so as a football player, sometimes we have to we got to be like saved from ourselves at some point.
Yeah, and that's what he talked about. He talked about that. You know, kind of having to save himself from, you know, the injuries. I think we're going to listen to it right now, but we'll listen to it.
Yeah, he says, I was my own worst enemy. I needed to see that me at 80% was not okay, which is exactly what you just said. Let's listen in.
I'm saying to myself, I'm like, well, it's hard for me to have energy when I'm hiding something, and I was hiding the injury that I could have easily said, you know what, coach, I don't think I'm ready. Maybe, you know, I need to kind of consider sitting this one out for the betterment. And I told myself last year, before I put myself in jeopardy to hurt the team, I'll just kind of remove myself to put this team in a better situation. Coach came up to me and asked me, you know, are you all right? Are you able to play? You know what I'm saying? And with that Superman title tag, you know, you feel like, no, coach, I'm good. Let me play. But deep down inside, there's that voice that you're hearing. You're not as good as you think you are, but you can keep on getting by. And that's what I've been doing. I've been getting by, you know, from the fourth down call, whether you may thought it was a bad call or not, I felt extremely confident in the call. People are saying, why didn't Cam have the ball in his hands? And I can honestly say, if we had to do a quarterback sneak, if I had to do a quarterback run, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Because I would have to push off my foot. And for so long, I've prided myself to say, well, if I can get 1 yard. Either I'm gonna jump over you, I'm gonna run through you, I'm gonna run around you. And I wasn't able to do neither one. And I think that's the thing that humbled me, is like, Cam ain't the player that he used to be. So my answer to that is, just wait.
Yeah, so that's why he didn't do it. So that makes a lot of sense when you hear his story. But what he's talking about is something that I went through as well. When I was coming back from my injury, I had a stress fracture in my shin. And I remember coming back and trying to play and going into a game, and you're not the same player. Can you function? Yes, you can. Can you perform at a high level? Not really. And there's this whole thing about the attitude of a player, like, you know, 80% of TD is better than, you know, 100% of somebody else. And then you don't want to disappoint your teammates, the fans. People are counting on you to go be on that field. So there is a gladiator mentality that you're going to try to play through anything. But at some point, when you feel like it's a detriment to the team and the team is not benefiting from you being out there, you have to remove yourself from that situation. And that's what he did. Because I completely understand. People are saying, you know, and then you do try to mask things. You try to hide your injuries.
No
question. Because like I said, you are trying to fight through it, and you don't know where that line is. You don't know exactly where it is because it's not a clear line. It's like, I can play, but I won't be very productive. And I want my teammates, the coaches that see me out there. I owe it to myself to be out there grinding for this team. But sometimes it is it backfires on you, and it's just not healthy for you to be out there. And he took himself from that.
Should he have done that before the Tampa Bay game?
Like I said, there is no clear line of like when should I do it. He recognized it when he did. He was like, you know what? I've been trying to go through this for a couple of weeks, and it's just not working. I'm not healthy. I can't push off of my foot. I'm having an audible out of plays that I know that normally I will be able to execute. I can't do them anymore. So he's not benefiting the team by being out there.
Where is the line, MJD? Because you want to be tough. You want to play through pain.
Right.
How do you know where the line is there as a player, like when to be honest with your coaches and training staff and say, like, this is actually really hard for me to do and I might not be productive out there doing it and trying to give it your best?
So as a competitor, that's the toughest thing. You don't see that line, right? I remember playing with, Fred Taylor and hearing all the things about Fred, and people are calling him Fragile Freddie, but he had some serious injuries that he was honest about. I played with guys who played with torn hamstrings or hurt calf or whatever it may be, trying to tape it up and go out there because they want to help the team. Sometimes, and I think, first of all, we have to give Cam Newton a ton of credit. I mean, people are going to critique his the way he might have done it. People are going to critique the way he dresses, all those different things. But it's hard as a player to say, I'm wrong. As an athlete to say, it's my fault. Because our job, first of all, you're getting paid a lot of money to do a certain thing. So that's the pressure. That's added pressure on there, right? You have your teammates looking at you like, hey, bro, what's going on? You're not doing your job. That's pressure. You got the coach saying, like he said, Coach Rivera's like, are you okay? Can you go? And even if you say, no, I can't, he's going to be like, well, why not?
Yeah.
Right? Because as a coach, it's his job to try to get you out there. So for Cam to come out there and say, hey, I'm not 100%, I can't do this, I'm hurting you guys, is I applaud him because it's hard to do.
And also to admit it all publicly now when he really didn't have to, right? He could have just swept all of this under the rug and pretended like it wasn't a problem that he knew about, and now we're dealing with a Liz Frank injury or a foot injury or whatever, and wherever that goes moving forward is where it goes. He didn't have to admit any of this.
Listen, I talked to one of my boys, a guy I went to college with named Justin Hickman, who had a Liz Frank injury just like me. That thing is special. Like, it took me a year and a half to get back from that. And
Why? What is it about it?
It's just your foot. It's hard. Like, all the pressure and you put on your foot to run and explode and cut, your foot's not stable. And that's what he was saying. Like, he's like, I can't run, I can't jump. And if that's, if you're a running back, that's all you're doing, right? As a if you're a running quarterback, that's all you're doing. Like, that's what you need to do. So Cam Newton can't be Cam Newton anymore unless that foot is healed. And once that foot is fixed, then he can do it. But again, I applaud him for it. It's just now you know.
All right.
Now we know.
So that's what we know as of right now with regard to Cam Newton and the Carolina Panthers, who will go into this week's game with Kyle Allen under center. And it looks